Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Midnight Monster Corner podcast. I'm your host, as always, Corey, and alongside me, as always, is my good pal Tony Arroyo. What's going on, Tony?
How you doing, man? What's going
What's up?
on?
What's up, brother? How you been?
I've been, brother. Been trying to live.
That's right. That's right. Well, if you're joining with us, you know by now by reading the title, this is our 10th episode. So number 10. So very exciting.
Yeah,
Um, go ahead.
no, I'm just saying double digits, man. The big one.
Oh yeah. And today for the number 10 episode, we're going to do a top 10 list for you. So this is going to be a top 10 list that I think is our favorite films in our collections. Um, and I think, like I told Tony earlier, that this could be a list on not just top or not just favorite films in general in our collections, but also uh, uh, we films that we can actually go to year round. Um, but yeah, what's your thoughts on that, Tony?
Yeah, essentially, basically comfort films. Films you can put on at any time. Always sit back and enjoy them. Crack a few beers and just kind of enjoy them. And I mean, you've seen them hundreds of times. You know what's going on. So you don't really have to. You just sit back and relax and chill and just watch a movie that you love. So
Yeah,
there's a little bit of personality in it because obviously it's your personal list, and it's films that speak to you, and I'm sure that we'll probably have a couple similar entries on our lists and everything, but it's uh it's just films that you can sit back, relax, and watch, and just have a fun time with.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's well put. And like you said, you hit on it. Yeah, I'm kind of very curious to see what films we have kind of similarity as far as what films we have. Um, and I think I know what your number one and number two is, but I might be wrong. So I'm excited to hear what those are. And I think you know what my number one and number two is.
I was gonna say, yeah, probably I think I can guess the top two for sure. Yeah. But the rest of the list is gonna be a complete unknown, so that's why, I mean, I'm pretty pretty excited either way. I might get them wrong. I mean, but it's gonna be fun to kind of delve into this and kind of talk more about these films.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Oh yeah.
Um, so before we get into it, have you watched anything for the week, or have you gotten anything for the collection?
Oh, I did. I went to Wally World and picked up a movie. It was on Blu-ray. It was $5. Couldn't beat it. And I've seen it before. It came out, I want to say 2017, 2018, a couple years ago. It's a movie called Marrowbone, and it's a really, really good film. Really, really solid. I saw it for $5 in the at Walmart, and I was like, man, I can't pass that up. I got to get that. I went in there looking for the new Halloween shirts that I've seen people post that they found at Walmart. So went in there, luckily found one of those, grabbed that, and then I was like, yeah, I'm already here. I might as well kick it in the movie section and see what they got. And sure enough, Marrowbone was there for $5. I'm like, yep, I got to get that. That's a really good movie. If I had to do a top 10 of the year that movie came out, it would definitely be up there because it was really enjoyable. It's one of those movies that's hard to talk about because it's heavy on spoilers. Just mentioning a couple things here and there, so I really don't want to give too much, but I highly recommend it. It's called Marrow Bone.
Nice.
And oh, and as far as watches this week, I was able to watch one movie. I popped in Night of the Creeps yesterday, well,
Hey,
last night. Yeah, I watched Night of the Creeps. I was just in the mood to watch Night of the Creeps, man. Such a fun movie. It's so enjoyable.
Tom Atkins, dude.
Oh yeah, he's great, and his lines.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite lines is it just movies in general is when at the sorority house with his with the ladies, and they're shacked up, and well, not shacked up, but they're holed up in there because
Mm.
the zombies are coming. And he turns to him. He says, "Well, girls, I got good news and bad news. The good news is your dates are here." And so girl's like, "Well, what's the bad news?" And he turns to her. They're dead. That's one of my favorite lines. But I love that line.
Oh
But
man,
yeah,
that's awesome.
he was spectacular in that movie. It's definitely, I think he said that was his favorite role that he's ever done. So
Yeah, he signed my case.
yep. I got mine signed too.
He put "Thrill Me" on it.
Yep,
That was
that's
awesome.
his signature catchphrase in that movie.
Hmm.
I think he said it like 5 or 6 times, somewhere around there. He said a lot every
But
time
that
he'd
was
answer
ad
the phone.
lib.
Yeah, yeah,
That was
definitely.
ad lib. He didn't. That wasn't in the script at all. When he came up with that when he answered the phone, he was like, "I'm supposed to say something when I answer the phone, right?" And they're
Right.
like, "Yeah, I guess." And then he picked up the phone and he said, "Thrill me." So it was awesome. It was really
He
awesome meeting him. He's such a nice guy.
he was really cool.
Yeah. So was that it for you?
Yeah, that was it. I didn't get too much watching in this week. Been kind of a busy week, so.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I definitely wanted to sit yesterday. I just was in a mood. I was like, let me. Yeah, yeah, it's a fun movie to just pop in and watch. I mean, you know, it's so much fun. There's so many funny, you know, so many funny lines, so much crazy, just insane. Like it just everything goes on. Everything's going on in that movie. So it's you find something enjoyable every time you pop it in and watch it. It's kind of like one of those comfort films, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I watched this week. What about you, man? You watch anything?
Well,
Pick up.
actually, well, I'll start off with my pickups. I only got one film in, and that was Insidious 2.
Oh, nice.
Just to Yeah, just to finalize everything on the franchise. I don't know if they're going to come out with a fourth film or not, but I didn't have it in my collection, so I was able to actually get it. So now I've got all the Blu-rays and that's that. So I was
Dude, nice.
happy to get that in there.
Hell yeah.
Just a quick shout to everyone that's listening or everyone that's in the Facebook group. Um, just today we're recording today on the on Thursday. But just today I posted um, a download for the last key. So if anyone listening wants it and it's still there, you're more than welcome to redeem that code because I don't redeem them. So I post them and first come first serve.
Mm, it's a good
But
service you're providing there, Corey.
yeah, definitely. Um, but I watched the bees.
Oh,
That's yeah, and honestly, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to watch the other day, and I couldn't figure out what I wanted to watch. And it's a Severin. I believe it's a Severin, right?
I think
Or
it's a
is it
vinegar syndrome.
Vinegar Syndrome? Yeah, it's Vinegar Syndrome. But the case is clear, and it stands out in my Blu-rays. So I picked it up, and I was just like looking at the case, and that's when I realized John Saxon was on the back of it, and I was like, oh no way, he's in this movie. And it hit me that he had just died, so I decided to watch it, kind of in his honor, and I was glad I did. That was a fun film. Um, but yeah, I picked up on some funny things about it, and I think I'm gonna try and save it and do a review on it, like a video review. So that should be coming up this week. I'm gonna try and pop that in. But that's pretty much it. That's pretty much like you. I've had a busy week, so I haven't watched anything hardly.
Been really, really busy, man.
It has been, and it's flown by too. It's really
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it really has. I mean, I like that though. I mean, if it's going to be busy, hey, at least you can fly by and not
Hmm.
late, not drag. So I'm like that at work. I'm like, hey, man, if if I'm going to be busy, at least make time go by, like make it go by fast, so I
Yeah.
don't feel like I'm dragging ass the whole time I'm here. So,
Yeah.
you'd be surprised how many times that happens.
Oh yeah. Well, you ready to jump into this?
I am so ready.
All right.
Let's
So,
do.
like I said, oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say let's do it.
Yeah. So, like I said, this is going to be our top 10 list of films that we enjoy in our collections and ultimately love in our collections. Um, and we're going to go in through them 10 to 1. And I think I'm going to go over like number 10, and you'll go over number 10, and then so on and so forth. We're not going to spend, I don't believe we're going to spend a whole lot of time talking about films, but we're just going to kind of go through the list a little bit and kind of go through the motion.
Hmm.
So Tony, you want to start this off with your number 10?
Oh yeah, man. So my number 10 is a movie that uh I just I love the setting. It draws you in. It's such a perfect setting for a zombie film, and it's the original Dawn of the Dead. I watched this movie and just there's so many different cuts of it. But I watched the the cut that they cut out the kind of gags like the pie and the zombie face gags and all that stuff, like the more serious cut. I love that one. I think it's the Argento cut. Um, and I just, man, I have so much fun with this movie. I get so, invested in the characters and their thought process through the whole, clean. I love watching the scenes where they clean out the mall, and then they're having fun. They're doing stuff, they're enjoying all the different things that there is to do at the mall. Just trying to live a normal life during the zombie apocalypse. But I
Yeah.
mean, there's just so much to love about this movie, man. There's so many, iconic scenes with the helicopter chopping the dude's, top of his head off, and the Harry Krishna zombie. There's just, I mean, there's so much. I mean, it's such a fun movie. I could pop it in any time and watch it. It's one of my favorite movies. I mean, especially from the '70s. I mean, it's so much fun. But yeah, my number 10 is Dawn of the Dead.
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I like that movie too, so that's pretty cool. Um, so my number 10 is Friday the 13th Part 3.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Honestly, it's just like I said, I've always said it. It's pretty much my favorite out of the whole series, just because it's where he gets his iconic mask. And just something about the case honestly pops to me. It's always popped to me. But in general, um, yeah, hands down, it's probably my favorite Friday the 13th. So um, that's going to be number 10, basically. That's like I said, it just is the one for me.
Hmm.
But but yeah,
It's a good
uh,
one.
yeah, definitely. Um, so you ready to move into number 9?
Absolutely.
All right.
So my number 9 is and another film where the location is key, and it's amazing. And the fact that this director at his age directed this movie, it's fascinating, and it blows my mind even to this day. But my number 9 is The Evil Dead, the original Evil Dead. I have to keep prefacing that because I have two movies that had started off my list that have been remade. So I have to preference the original 1981 Evil Dead. But
Nice.
this is the one. I've always been more of a fan of the first Evil Dead than the second Evil Dead, even though the second Evil Dead is, I mean, a great movie in its own right. But I love the fact that it's more horror. It's not as comedic. And some people will argue that yeah, there's a lot of comedic scenes in Evil Dead. Well, not nearly as many as Evil Dead 2. Like that's almost a remake of Evil Dead where they added more comedy. So
Mm-hmm.
really enjoy the horror. I enjoy the setting. I enjoy the Deadites. I enjoy, you know, Ash doing his thing, and it's so much fun. The camera angles, the shots that Sam Raimi, I mean, that he did, I mean, are just incredible. Especially at his age. I think he was in his early 20s when he did this movie. And if you look at the production stuff and you kind of delve into that, it's amazing what they were able to do. It really is fascinating how they shot this film and how they had things happen, and it's just incredible. I don't want to spoil anything, but yep, my number 9 is the original Evil Dead.
Right on. Yeah. I had a hard time not putting an Evil Dead film in this top 10 list.
Hmm.
Um, and honestly, it was a toss up between not so much number two, but it was a toss up honestly between Evil Dead and um, uh, Army of Darkness.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I was really thinking about putting Army of Darkness in here, but ultimately at the end of the day, um, it's just honestly a film that I haven't sat down to watch in a while. So obviously other films trumped, you know, that. So I'm not able to put it in just yet. Now, if I was to do like a top 20 list or something, it would have probably definitely been in there. Um, but yeah, that's bottom line. But to your point, I would say out of the first two films, yeah, I would choose number one over number two any day. Even though Sam Raimi's comedy mixed with horror is fun,
Hmm.
um,
Yeah, it definitely is.
I I love the fact that that film is more serious tone.
Very much
And
so.
as far as a comedic tone for me, I would say Army of Darkness hits it right on the spot for me. Number two, just honestly never did it for me. I love the storyline and I love it as a sequel. But in general, I have much more fun watching number one and obviously number three.
Mhm.
But yeah, so good number nine, man. I like
Thank you.
that.
Appreciate it.
So number nine for me is a more of a serious tone film. Um, and honestly, it's a film that now I want to say, so my first three films that I'm going over here are films, maybe my first four films going over here are films that I normally don't watch year round, but I love the fact that I have them. So that's the reason why they're in the top 10. So number nine is The Battery.
Nice. Okay.
Yes.
More modern film.
It is a more modern film.
Right.
And it is a very, very, very low budget film. But they made it work for what it was. Love everything about this film. The characters, the story between the characters and the development between the characters are just so much fun.
Yeah,
Um,
their history is great.
yeah, and
And
you know, it's kind of a slower type tone film, but it works. It keeps me going, you know. So, and I'm glad that actually you introduced me to this film. I had to buy it as soon as I watched it with you. So thank you for that. But yeah, so that's my number nine.
I'm glad you dug it that much, man. It's really cool to have I mean, to see that pop up on your list. It really is, especially
Yeah.
since it's a more modern film and it is kind of a slower paced film.
Yeah.
But the characters are just it is so engaging with those two characters. You just the time just flies by because you really invest in them too, and you really
Hmm.
invest in how they're going about surviving, and how one guy's so nonchalant, the other guy's so gung ho. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm excited. I'm this is what I've been waiting for my whole life," and
Hmm.
it's just really cool to have that contrast between the two.
Yeah. Yeah. I really love the fact that they did that with the characters where you got one that's just, you know, he's out to just straight up murder these zombies, and then you got another guy who's just like just going through the motion and basically pretending the outside world just honestly doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So that's my number nine. So
On to number 8.
on to number eight.
Nice. So my number 8 is my favorite in the franchise. Um, and my number nine, excuse me, my number 8 is Friday the 13th, Part 4.
Hmm.
Yes, yes, I love this movie. It's my favorite in the franchise. My favorite Jason is Ted White, always will be. Um, he's just so menacing, and the kills are fantastic. They're so mean spirited, especially the Axel kill when he just gets he gets the hacksaw through the neck, and then Jason just twists his neck all the way around. It's just so vicious, man. Surprised that
Hmm.
got by censorship, honestly. Um, but it's such a good kill, and the characters are fun. Um, you got Crispin Glover, and he's so funny, and the banter between him and Ted is excellent.
Hmm.
You love their banter, you love their back and forth. The dead fuck thing. It makes me laugh every time. I don't care how many times I see this movie, I always laugh with those two guys. But the fact that Jason's just completely like vicious and just mowing through these characters is just I love it. It kind of sparks it a little bit before Kane's days, where this is a Jason that's just very, you know, he's just very about killing. He's just going about it like it's just another day at the office for him. So,
Yeah.
and Ted White brings that with the character. He's really good. He's such a good stuntman that he brings that forth in that character. So, yeah, Friday the 13th Part 4 is always going to be my favorite. Um, yeah, that's my number 8.
That's the one where they introduced Tommy Jarvis, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Corey Feldman.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, you know what my favorite kill scene is in that film actually? Isn't that the one where the guy goes to block the machete and it goes through his hand?
Oh, well, yeah. When it goes through Jason's hand, yeah, yeah.
It
Because
goes
they're
through
gonna,
Jason's
yeah,
hand?
yeah. Because you have that print, that print from Ted White
Yeah.
when we met him at the convention. Is him with the machete through his hand, or with the not the machete itself, but the wound from the machete that left on his
Yeah.
hand is just sticking up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I would have got that print, man. Now that I think about it, but
Yeah.
it's a really cool print.
Yeah. Overall, I think part three and part four in general are pretty good. And just like I said, number three always takes the cake for me because it's where he gets his iconic mask, and I love the scene where he ultimately gets the mask and everything. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
I think to your point with Friday the 13th Part 3 and 4, I love how Part 4 starts right after Part 3. Like,
Yeah,
I love how they did that. It's kind of like the Halloween 2 thing, where Halloween 2 takes place directly after Halloween 1.
yeah, I love it. I love
I,
how films pick up like that.
I do too, man. I love the continuation. I really dig that. So,
Yeah. All right, so on to my number eight. It is a Sam Raimi film, and
okay.
that's Intruder.
Oh, Intruder. Nice. Okay.
Yes. Again, it's another film that you introduced me to. Um, can't say enough about it. I love this film. I love the character development. Not so much character, I guess character interaction is what I love about this film. Just all these kids that work in a shop together. It's really cool. It's also really cool just seeing all the old products and stuff like that, and just
Oh, yeah.
really capture the essence of the '80s. I really love that. And of course, like the killer is phenomenal in the film. I love how crazy and insane the guy is. Just everything about this film is just so fun. If you want to just honestly sit down and have a good time, that's it. And periodically, I do. I pop it in just to watch it, just because I love watching it. So that's number eight for me in my collection.
Great movie, man. Some of the best kills you'll see in a slasher film. I mean, the kills are just outstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, to your point, that's another thing. The kills are fun. Just
Oh,
even
fantastic.
just the setup of the body parts are fun.
Yeah. Yeah. That the
So
cat game. Yeah. I love it.
yeah,
That's a great
it's
movie.
everything about it's just fun. But yeah, that's my number eight.
Nice, nice, nice. Well, on to number 7. So my number 7 is um hmm, my favorite my favorite vampire film of all time. Oh yeah. My number 7 is the original Fright Night.
Oh,
Yeah. I love Fright Night, dude. I can watch Fright Night. I could pop that movie in every week and watch it. It's so fun. I love Jerry Dandridge. I'm a big fan of his. He brought a lot to that character. You know, Chris Sarandon obviously brought a lot to that character. It's cool that he added the whole because you see him throughout the movie eating apples and stuff. And you're like, oh, I wonder why that's one of his quirks and stuff. Well, when I did some research on it, he's like, well, in my backstory for this character, he descended from the fruit bat. So that's why he's always eating apples because his descendant is a fruit bat. I thought that was really fascinating. I'm like, that's cool that he added that little touch to it and that he really stuck with it, you know? So, I mean, I love the effects in this movie. They're fantastic, man. The whole end scene is absolutely killer. I dig it. I love it. Everybody, you know, there's a lot of people that give Evil Ed grief, but I love Evil Ed, man. I think he's a fantastic character. He's really, really fun. I just love everything about this movie, man. It's my favorite vampire film, and that is the original Fright Night, 1985.
Nice. Yeah, I enjoy that film as a vampire film, and honestly, I'm ashamed to say that I don't visit it enough, and I need to. Something about that case, man, just really pops out to you.
Oh, that's another thing I didn't even mention. That cover art that I have a poster because I love that movie so much. I got the poster in my room. The cover art's a fantastic. I remember picking that DVD up at Walmart years ago when I first started collecting, and it just like that cover just sucks you right in. It's so fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I can't say enough about it. Like, and that's one of the things. Like when we were first starting out in horror movie collecting and stuff, that case always popped out to me, but I never bought it. Just I always saw it at Scratch and Spin, and then ultimately I finally picked it up because I had to have it. You praised it a lot, so
Oh yeah, I always choose Fright Night. I love that movie. I can like literally pop it in every other week or every week and watch it. It's a comfort film for me.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
All right, so my number seven was pretty much my holy grail of my collection. Um, I think you know what I'm about to say.
What you're about to
It took me so long to find this film, but
say. Yep.
Rawhead Rex.
Yeah, I knew it was coming.
You knew it had to be in there.
Oh yeah.
I love the fact that it took me like 5 or 6 years to find the DVD, and then when I finally got a copy, like 2 years later, they came out with a Blu-ray. So
It,
that's just
it's
my luck.
what happens, man. As soon as you finally get that movie, you've been trying to find for your collection for the longest time. You finally get it for a decent price, and then boom, right after that, somebody announces that they're coming out with a Blu-ray.
Yeah.
One of these, it's like, oh yeah, we're putting out a Blu-ray. It's like, damn.
I couldn't knock it though. It's the Kino Larva
Oh,
Blu-ray, so
yeah.
I had to
Which,
have it.
yeah, it's fantastic.
But yeah, everything about that. Honestly, I love that film. Rawhead in general, just as a creature, is just so fun to watch. I love everything about. It. I love how just big and bulky this demon creature is, and
He's wicked.
it's all practical. Mhm.
He's wicked looking. I mean, I always liked his look. I always thought it was fascinating. I loved his glowing eyes, and I thought that was really neat. How
Yeah,
he could do that, and I always found it fascinating how they were able to articulate that. His character in in the suit, the guy in the suit. I always found it fascinating how he was able to articulate in that thing
yeah,
because it looked like it was super bulky and really hard to move around in. But he moved pretty fluid, like he didn't really seem to have any hiccups with the movement. So it's pretty fascinating.
yeah.
I'm kind of I did myself a disservice. I didn't see if there were any special features on that Kino Blu-ray, but I would love to know some behind the scenes stuff on
Yeah.
Rawhead.
There's a. It looks like honestly, I haven't checked out any of the special features, but there looks to be a decent amount of stuff on the back end.
Sweet.
Interviews with a whole bunch of people and stuff like that. So maybe we can sit down together and watch that.
I want to check that out, man, because I'm really curious, especially how they got the design to work. Because I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, you can kind of see some flaws and stuff in there, but that's what makes it charming. That's what adds to the fun, you know.
I wonder if it's almost like maybe like puppeteering or something on the inside. Kind of like
Yeah,
how like Barney was able to move his mouth when he talked and stuff like that. So I wonder if like, that's what happened inside that suit. I'm curious.
yeah, me too.
So,
It's a good
but
number
yeah, so
seven.
that was my number 7.
Yeah. Okay. On to number six. All right. So my number six is um have to say it, my favorite zombie film of all time. Um, and that is Return of the Living Dead.
Nice.
Yep. It had to be on there. This is the one movie that I I swear, man, there's little things in it that just always make me laugh, and it just I mean, the fact that this movie is so punk rock, it's got a great
Mhm.
soundtrack, so punk rock. The zombies, I mean, Tarman, one of the most iconic zombies to ever grace the screen. Um, you know, the characters are just fantastic. You love the characters. I mean, all of them. You love the guys working, in Unita. You love those guys. You love, the punks, their friends.
Mhm.
Ernie. I mean, everybody, every character was so on point and so, memorable that it's like an ensemble cast of characters, and you just absolutely have a blast with their dialogue. Um, I love Return of the Living Dead. I love just scene by scene, just absolutely fantastic stuff going on in this movie. Uh, it's really fascinating. I know that the the actors they did a lot of table readings and stuff like that, so they really had a good chemistry. And there's some scenes where they're just talking over each other, and it's just so natural and so fluid that you can tell that they really took their time with reading the script. And yeah, it's a fantastic movie. One of my favorite zombie movie of all time. That's Return of the Living Dead.
Nice. Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorites. I grew up watching that. Was one of my first horror films that I got introduced to as a pretty much a young child. So
Yeah,
I know what you're saying though. It's I out of every zombie film that I own, I would say that's probably one of my all-time favorite zombie films. Um, but yeah, so with that, my number 6 is actually considered to be a zombie film as well. And again, it was a film that pretty much I grew up, I watched it at a younger age, and I just I, there it means a lot to me actually, this film, because there's kind of a neat backstory behind it. Um,
um,
but Night of the Comet,
okay,
yeah.
nice one,
So
dude.
yeah, honestly, I love the concept of it, and just everything about this film's so fun. But yeah, just the makeup looks cool. I love the difference with the zombies, how they're still like human like, so they still have human characteristics, but
Hmm.
yet at the same time they're obviously flesh eaters.
Yeah,
And again with this film, so it's similar to Battery, because you have one who's kind of a badass, and then you have another who's pretty much just like bubbly and doesn't really pay attention to what's going on with the world, you know?
kind of
So
like in our little world.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I love the fact that your main characters are females, where most of the you know gunslingers in zombie film would be obviously male, but in this case it was female
Yeah,
characteristics, so or characters, so that was pretty cool.
yeah,
Um, but overall, it's just a fun film. Storyline's great. Um, and like I said, even the concept of how these people got turned into a zombie was really fun.
yeah. It really
But
was.
yes, that's my number 6 there.
I love how cloudy and red, and just it seems like there was red soot in the backgrounds of all the the scenes
Yeah,
after the after everything went down. I just love that look. The cinematography is really cool.
yeah,
Always dug that.
yeah, definitely.
Yep. All right, so we're on number five.
We're halfway there. Yeah, number five.
All right. Well, number five for me is one of my favorite slasher films of all time. Um, and that is the original My Bloody Valentine, 1981.
I was wondering when that was going to pop up.
Yep, it's
Nice.
popping up at my number five. Well, I mean, I feel redundant saying how much I love these movies because I do. They're obviously on my list, but this one with the setting, I really enjoy the setting, being in the mines and see it's like a blue collar slasher film. These are not young teens. They're older, younger adults, and there's a lot of they really took the holiday of Valentine's Day and ran with it with this movie. And I think they did a fantastic job incorporating. Even the town's called Valentine's Bluffs. I mean, Valentine Bluffs. So it's really cool. It's got the big heart, the neon sign on it. When they go back into town from work,
Mm.
just to be young adults and party and have fun and do what you do. And there's a love triangle. There's a lot of stuff going on in this one. At the end of the day, though, the killer, is amazing. You have the miner, Harry Warden
Mhm.
with the pickaxe and the mining gear on. Really, really foreboding when they get into those mines, and the director really uses those, the mines to his advantage. Almost becomes a character in and of itself. So it's
Mhm.
really fascinating to watch, especially the end. How it goes down, and I thoroughly enjoy this movie. I could pop it in anytime and watch it. That's My Bloody Valentine, 1981.
Right on. Yeah, yeah, same for me. Honestly, again, like The Evil Dead, honestly, if I had more movies to choose from, it would have definitely been in the top 20 somewhere. Um, it's just honestly very fun to watch, and to your point, the kills are phenomenal.
Oh, so
Uh,
good.
and again, the look of the killer, that's really cool. I love the backstory on how Harry Warden is the way that he is and stuff. So,
And
as
the funny thing is, I think about it, and I wonder if the movie would have made my top 10 if I had seen the R or the cut version rather than the unrated cut. Because the first time I've ever seen the movie was the unrated cut that came out on that DVD. I think it was the Paramount DVD, and
Mhm.
that's the first time I ever watched the movie, and it blew me away with the gore. Like the gore was fantastic, but I didn't know that it was cut because I never had that cut version. So I wonder if I seen it cut, if it would have changed my perception. I still would have loved the characters. I would have loved the setting. Um, but having that gore in it, when the guy gets the pickaxe through his, you know, the bottom of his neck and it pops out of, oh my God, it's so amazing to see that, man. So yeah, I'm kind of curious if it would have altered my perception of the movie, but I don't think it would have. I really do enjoy My Bloody Valentine, so it's firmly at number five, and that's where it should be.
Nice, right on.
Yeah,
All right, so my number five, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into Italian horror.
I was waiting for it. It was
This
coming.
is this is a film that I watch throughout the year. I love this film. Dario Argento's Tenebrae.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
Everything about the film. Of course, Dario Argento, he's the man. But the kills are phenomenal. The gore is phenomenal. The storyline is awesome. I honestly cannot say anything bad about this. I love everything about this film.
Oh, it's
Um,
it's a good film. Absolutely fantastic.
so hands down, it's one of my favorites from him. Of course, I said in the past, it's not like it's not. Oh, I mean, it is my favorite from him, but there's others I do love.
Hmm.
But this takes the cake from every one of them. I pop this in year round, watch it. I always watch this one. So even takes it over Deep Red, which Deep Red comes in a close second with this one. But I love Tenebrae.
Yeah, you don't know how hard it was to not put Tenebrae on my list. I thought about Tenebrae too so much. Is it? I mean, and that, yeah, this movie is fantastic. As like you said, it's fantastic. There's amazing kills. That blood spray when she gets her arm chopped off is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. Like the way it was shot, it's just so poetic and just so amazing. Only Dario could do that. I'm glad to see that on your list, though, man. That's a good number 5. Solid right there.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we on number 4.
Number 4.
All right. Well, number 4 for me is okay. So this director is going to be on here twice, and I'm a big fan of his. He's my favorite director. And that is John Carpenter's The Thing.
Ooh.
Hmm.
Okay. So this was one of I actually thought that was going to be your number 1.
Oh, did you
Like I said,
now?
there's a toss up because I think I know what your number 1 is, but it was either this one or another film would be your number 1 and number 2. So I'm
Yeah.
actually surprised to see it at number 4 for you.
Well, and it probably would be at number 3 if it wasn't for the location. I mean, the fact that it's in our shot in Antarctica.
Hmm.
It's snowy, so you really can't watch it all year round. It's one of those things where it's better to watch it in the dead of winter when
Oh yeah,
it's really isolated. Yeah, it just fits to the mood and it just adds to everything. But the movie's a masterpiece. I mean, it really is. I mean, everyone and their grandmother has talked about the effects. Some of the best effects I've ever seen in a horror film. I
hmm
mean, there's no question about it. Still to this day, I watch the scene where the dog transforms into the thing, and it just sends goosebumps up my it sends chills up my spine, and I was just like, that is so incredible. I can't imagine the hours that was put in to making that effect look as good as it did, or the Norris head kill, or the Norris head sprouting, spider legs and crawling around. It's just fantastic, man. But the thing I love about it is how fantastic the acting is in this movie.
definitely.
Absolutely incredible. There is such a level of isolation and dread in the characters and their performance. Like they really sell it. Kurt Russell, and it's just he's a legend. He's one of my favorite actors of all time, but he's just so good as MacReady. He looks completely, especially when he comes in from being outside in the cold. He looks so on edge and just just out there. Just he's lost it, but he still holds his shit together. And I think one of the most tense moments that I have watching a movie is when they're doing the blood test scene, because
Hmm.
you know it's coming, but still it gets you every time. It
Yeah.
gets you every time when it pops up. It's like, oh man, and then all the shit goes down after that.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's a masterpiece of a movie. It's a 10 out of 10 for sure. So, yep, John Carpenter's The Thing, number 4.
Yeah. One of my favorites. One of my favorites. One of my favorite things about that film. You kind of hit on it, but again, the interaction between the characters are just phenomenal.
It's
You know,
crazy.
how well they get along and stuff, even in a desolate situation. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I that's one of the things I really love about that film is just the way the characters are with each other and how they interact. It's really
You
cool.
want
And
to
then
see,
I'll go ahead.
no, I was going to say, if you want to see masterclass acting, you watch The Thing. It's amazing. It's an ensemble cast, and they outshine, you know, they outshine anything. It's really fantastic how they're able to play off each other, and just their interaction is incredible.
Even all the way down to the end scene where it's just McCready and fuck, what's his name?
Childs.
Giles, yeah. Where it's pretty much just those two, and obviously the thing's still around somewhere, and yet they're pretty much like, well, I guess we're gonna ride this out and die together. That's
Yeah.
really cool how they did that.
Well,
So
my favorite thing with the end, and it's one of the best endings in horror history. Again, um, the fan theories with Childs and whether they think he's the thing. Um, because they say McCready gives him, when he gives him the drink, they say he gives him like gasoline or something in the drink and see if Childs is gonna react to it. But the fact that he drinks it, if that's the theory, then he would in fact be the thing because of course the thing's not gonna know. So I love how the fan theories go with that and how they kind of take it, in another direction and they leave it, because Carpenter left it very open to interpretation, whatever you think, and I think that's genius, and I love the fact that he did that because it
yeah.
keeps people coming up with these really interesting and unique fan theories that really make you think like, I wonder if Childs really was, if he really did turn, if he really was a thing, you know.
Hmm.
So yeah, I just wanted to
That's
throw that out
interesting.
there. I thought that was pretty cool.
That is cool. All right, so that was your number four.
That was my number four.
My number four. I actually I watch this one quite often. I even pop it on occasionally, like if I'm having a couple friends over and playing cards or whatever.
Yeah,
We'll just we'll just throw it on and just have it on. Um, but that's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the
nice.
original.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Just honestly, just I I I I don't know what it is, but I love that film. Um, hands down. It's and we hit on it the last episode, I believe, where we talked about how even though he is an icon, he doesn't have a big franchise like Freddy or Jason does. But however, it works.
Yeah.
And even up to like the second film, I love the second film. So both films in general, but this one obviously takes the cake because it's the original and it's fun to watch. So I love to pop it on when I have guests over, just that way people can see it and explore the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Um, there's one thing I hate about this film though, and that's Franklin.
Oh, Franklin. Yeah.
I don't like him. He's just so obnoxious to me.
He's,
That's the
he's
only
a,
that's the only thing I don't like about the movie.
yeah, he plays the character well. He does come off very obnoxious and very annoying.
Oh yeah,
Um, yeah, especially when he's doing the raspberry thing. The raspberry thing is always the scene that gets me.
yeah,
Like he's just doing that shit, and it's like, oh my god.
yeah,
He's like almost got the mind of a child.
yeah.
So, yeah, that's a good one, dude. TCM is another masterpiece.
Hands down. Toby Hooper knocked it out of the park with that one.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, absolutely did.
Yeah.
Excellent number four.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All righty. Well, number three for me is my first foray into Italian horror on my list.
Mhm.
There had to be one or two in here somewhere.
Mhm.
Um, that is my favorite Fulci film, and that is The Beyond, 1981.
Nice.
The Beyond is a movie. It really it it amazes me because when I first saw it's nothing like I've ever seen before. It really threw me for a loop. It took me completely off guard because it's so different than your typical American or North American, I should say, horror film. There's
Mhm.
definitely a dreamlike nightmare logic that he captures on screen, and with the Beyond, it builds to that. It turns into that, and it crescendos into something absolutely magnificent. And
Mhm.
it's got one of the best endings in horror film history. There's another, you know, common thing on my list is some of the best endings in horror history. That's definitely one that's up there because I love how just open into well, not open into interpretation because you pretty much get it, but the fact that you know everything that happened, I don't want to spoil it, but everything that happens goes down the way it does, and then the movie starts off one way and then turns into a zombie film, and the zombie carnage and stuff like that, and
Mhm.
it I look at I just look at it as almost like a fever dream when I first saw it, and then the more times I watched it, the more I picked up on certain things, and I just fell more and more in love with it, and now it's number 3 on my list, The Beyond.
Right on. That's a good number 3 right there.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
yeah, honestly, I love the fact that yeah, it's just classic Fulci.
oh yeah,
Um,
even
everything
down to the
about that.
even down to the eye punk, the eye gouging and classic
Yep.
Fulci.
Yeah, classic Fulci. But yeah, that film is just so off the wall and so random and just so fun. Honestly, the dog scene gets to me every time because it's like you expect it to happen and then all of a sudden, bam, and it's like, damn, it got me again, you know?
Yep.
Yeah. But everything about that film's just so damn fun. I love it.
Oh yeah. There's a scene where she's driving on the highway and it looks it just so looks out of place almost in a way. It just doesn't seem right. But it's so dreamlike. The cinematography and the way it's shot, it's so dreamlike. You feel like you're in a dream. And she's rolling up on Emily with Dickie the dog, and
Hmm.
it's something about it. The way it's shot is magnificent. Um, it's just dreamlike is the best way to describe it because it's so hazy and so tranquil, and it's just beautifully shot. Fulci's Fulci's the man, my favorite Italian director. I love him. I love his stuff, but that's
Yeah,
my favorite one.
nice. It's awesome.
Hmm.
All right, so my number 3 is the classic Jaws.
Nice. Okay,
Yeah,
I knew Jaws was going to be up there somewhere.
had to be it. Yeah. And again, it falls in place. I mean, not only is it one of my favorite films in my collection, but honestly, it's something that I revisit quite often. It's honestly one horror film that I can honestly sit down and enjoy with my wife, and we pretty much just anytime it's on TV or something, we'll just turn it on and watch it. Especially during Shark Week, it's on.
Oh yeah, it's definitely
Uh,
on.
but just everything, from the infamous kills, the beautiful shots. I mean, that shot on the beach where the camera zooms in and out like at the same time, that's phenomenal. The way
Yeah,
that he did that, um, even down to the score. I mean, everything about this film. Jaws is coming when that score comes, and everyone knows what that classic piano key score.
yeah, when it kicks. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, everything about it, I love. I wish I could have met some people from this film because I would love to have this film signed.
Yeah, what's funny is the first, I think it was the first Mad Monster I went to. They had a Jaws reunion thing going on, and I didn't get anything signed, and I regret it to this day. I'm like, damn, I should have got something signed. Like I
Yeah.
should have. I mean, they had a lot of character, or they had a lot of cast from the movie, and I don't know, I don't know why I spaced on it, but I did, and
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything, remotely close to, or anybody from the movie remotely close to another convention. So I wonder if that was just like a one and done thing, and I hope not. I hope there's a chance that they can do like a reunion again. I mean, I know the cast is getting up there in age. I know some have passed away, but the few that
Yeah.
are, some, the ones that are remaining that are still alive, there's always a chance. But yeah,
Yeah.
I regret that because I didn't. I don't know what was going on in my head, but I spaced out on that big time.
Yeah. I really wish I
It's,
would have went to that convention because that would have been awesome.
yeah, Jaws is one of those movies. To your point, man. No matter what you're doing, if Jaws is on, you sit down and watch it.
Hmm.
It's one of those movies you sit down and watch. If you're flipping through TV and it's on, that's what you're watching.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I'm a sucker for shark horror. I watch. I've got so many shark horror films. It's unreal. But Jaws just always does it for me.
Yeah.
The serious tone. I've got a lot
Oh,
of crappy shark films, but that one kind of I love watching it. It's one that, like I said, we watch year round, and just everything about it's just so fun. So
yeah, it's the gold standard of that of shark horror. That's for sure. It stands on a pedestal by itself. Like nothing's touching Jaws.
no, nothing can.
No, no, never. Couldn't
So yeah,
even close it.
Number 3.
Alrighty, so moving on to number 2. My number 2 is, and here's another repeat, mine in your list. The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Nice.
Yep, you knew it was coming. I love
Yeah.
TCM. I've always been a TCM fan. I grew up on this film. I saw it when I was very, very young. It made a lasting impression on me as a horror fan. Um, it's one of those movies, and when you watch it, you feel dirty, like you have to take a shower because of how sweaty it seems. Like it's just the dead of Texas, like in the middle of summer.
Mhm.
Just the heat and the way they captured it with the cinematography. You really feel sweaty and dirty, and it's like it's like you're watching a insane documentary. The way it's shot. Um, The characters are fantastic. I love the dinner scene. The dinner scene is probably one of my favorite scenes in horror movie history. I mean,
Yeah.
Sally's just screaming her heart out and flipping out, and the amount that the where she takes that is incredible. She's so underrated as a final girl because her performance is just absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's legendary, and then just her, egging her on and just that whole sequence is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Um, I just love TCM. I can watch it anytime. It's one of those movies that really made a profound impact on me as a horror fan. So,
Oh yeah, definitely.
yep,
And to your point, yeah, that dinner scene, I didn't bring that up, and you're right. I mean, as a final girl, I mean, just her performance alone, the way that
incredible.
she's like it generally you when you're watching it, you almost get a sense of fear from her
Oh,
alone,
oh yeah.
especially
They-
where the grandfather keeps dropping the hammer,
oh
you
yeah.
know,
That
and it
scene just build up to that. It's just oh man.
yeah, and it,
It,
and it really captures the essence of an insane family because here you got this gung ho killer, and then and then you got the hitchhiker played by Ed Neal, where he's pretty much just like laughing it on and egging everything on, and then you have what the brother or the uncle, I can't remember, but the older gentleman,
mm,
but he's pretty much like like laughing and stuff, but at the same time, it's almost like he kind of feels that it's kind of wrong.
yeah, you can see there's a moment where he kind of where the shots are cutting and it cuts on him and he's laughing. He's kind of smirking and laughing, but then he kind of looks off and kind of you
Yeah,
kind of sense that he's kind of I don't know a little bit detached maybe in a sense, but then again he just goes back to being. I just love how they do that. It's amazing. It keeps you guessing. It keeps you wondering. Like you want to know more about this crazy Sawyer family. You want to know more about what's going on with them. And I think each one of them and to Gunnar, R.I.P. Gunnar Hansen, his portrayal of Leatherface is really fantastic. I mean that goes without saying, though. I mean everybody knows that, but
yeah,
I just wanted to say, the fact that he committed to that voice and committed to, just how slow that he is. He commits to that and he pulls it off brilliantly. So and I love his different looks that he has. The woman face that he puts on, and of course
hmm
the leather face that he has on. And how he kind of mimics that by being the cook and it's funny. It's out there, and that's what I love about this movie. It's out there, and it's a masterpiece, another masterpiece. So TCM, Toby Hooper's masterpiece.
yep.
Oh yeah,
It's awesome. It's a good number 2, man.
it's got to be on there.
So my number 2 is a film that I definitely revisit every year, especially around Halloween, and that is John Carpenter's Halloween.
Nice.
Yes. Just honestly, you know what does this movie for me? I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Mike Myers and stuff as a killer.
Mhm.
Ultimately, what does that for me for this film is watching Donald Pleasance. I love Donald Pleasance
Dude,
as Dr. Loomis.
I'm telling you, I'm reading we're
reading each other's minds because I was just going to say his performance it draws me in. And I was just thinking that.
Exactly. I love how he can joke but be a serious actor as well. And what I mean by that is that one of my favorite scenes with Donald Pleasance is where he's sitting there standing outside of the Myers house and the kids, go up to it kind of like, go in, I dare you. And he's like, get your ass out of here.
Hey,
That's one of my
hey,
favorite
hey,
scenes.
Lonnie. Hey, Lonnie, get your ass away from there. I love it. Dude. I love it.
Yeah. So that's what, yeah, just honestly, but everything about it. Of course, Mike Myers as a killer. I love the fact that he has no dialogue.
Mm.
The mystery behind him is just so phenomenal. And one of the reasons why I love this film is because it shows a little kid and how he can just snap on a flip of a dime, and
Absolutely.
become a vicious killer, for 30 years that we know of.
Mhm.
So
Sitting in a room, inhumanly patient. It's fantastic.
yeah,
Wonderful dialogue that he delivers, Dr. Loomis. It's incredible.
yeah, yeah. Even all the way down to Laurie Strode. I love her character in this film.
Mhm.
Um, I just honestly everything about this film I love. So
I'm
it's my
telling you,
it's my go-to film on Halloween. I am watching this movie no matter what.
mhm.
So yeah.
Good number.
And
Yeah.
one of my favorite things that I like to actually do is on Halloween, I'll actually have that movie playing on roll and answering the door and giving out candy and stuff. And sitting back down and waiting for the next trick-or-treaters. That's always fun.
Yeah, you definitely have. Yeah, that's a must. You got to do that. I've been doing that the last couple of years too. It's just
Yeah.
having it on. I mean, I do a Halloween marathon, so I pop in 1, 2, 3. I just go on and on until I can't no more. So
Yeah.
I like to at
I,
least get
I
to 4, at least get through 4 because 4 is my last favorite one because I love, especially the opening to 4 is very Halloween. So I dig it. I love it. But
yeah.
yeah, if I can get to 4 and that's good. I'm not really big on 5 and 6 is okay, but 4 is the last true good one. But to your point, man, Halloween is another masterpiece. It's an incredible movie.
Yeah.
So that's a good number 2. And funny enough, my number 1, just to roll back into it, is Halloween.
I knew it. I knew it. I
Yeah,
knew it.
you knew Halloween. Halloween's my favorite horror film of all time.
Yeah.
I know it's very cliche and very, anticlimactic, but just Halloween does it for me, man. I saw it at a young age. Once again, I saw this. God Almighty, I must have been 6 or 7 years old when I first saw this, and it just made a profound impact on my life and turned me into the horror. This is the movie that turned me into the horror fan that I am.
Nice.
I absolutely love the character of Michael Myers. I love the fact that he stalks. Not only is he a slasher, but he stalks in this movie, and I love that because you want more stalking in your slasher film, and that's what he does. This is the granddaddy of slasher films. I mean, this is what I mean. Of course, there was slashers that came out before, but this is the one that kicked it into gear, and this is the one that got everything right. That had the
Yeah.
look of the killer, the mask. To your point, that's why I didn't really say a lot when you were talking about Halloween because I was going to end up talking about it too. So I didn't want to beat a dead horse, but the fact of the matter is, this is, Donald Pleasance is remembered for this role. Even though he had a storied career, he is remembered for his role with Dr. Loomis and is incredible. That just goes to show you you know, the creativity that Carpenter and Deborah Hill, when they were coming up with this idea that, you get a guy like that and Donald Pleasance have him in this role, you really just like you struck gold because I don't think anyone else could have done it like him. I
Yeah.
can't picture anybody else in that role but Donald Pleasance. It's
Yeah.
it's just hard to imagine anybody pulling off those lines and you know being that stark and then to your point, being jovial and joking around with little Lonnie when he goes up to the Michael Myers house.
Hmm.
Um, and of course, we didn't mention the score. The score is at one of the best scores of all time. I mean,
Yeah.
It gives you goosebumps, and to your point too, Corey, that you made, which I love. Um, they didn't. There wasn't any backstory. They didn't want to do that with the sequels. They wanted to keep it very, subtle and what makes Michael Myers tick, why why he is what he is. I love that about the first movie because I kind of look at it as its own, just in and of itself, its own thing. Because I don't want to know the backstory to Michael Myers. I don't want to know that he's related to Laurie Strode. I don't want to know any of that. I just want to, in my mind, picture him just getting out after killing his sister. All those years later, getting out, the first person he sees, he gravitates to, and he's just on a, there's no motive or anything. He's just stalking Laurie Strode and her friends. And that's what I love about it. There's no motive. There's no there's no backstory. There's no explanation. It's
Yeah.
it's just simple boogeyman. And I love
Yeah.
that. Love that about it. And
Well, he's just a man of mystery,
yeah, I love that. I
Together.
absolutely love it. They watered down the character with the sequels and just putting on. I mean, I have, like I said, guilty pleasure. I love I have fun with them, but at the end of the day, it would have been nice to just have Michael just be Michael without any explanation.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there's so many things to talk about with that movie. I mean, like I said, I don't want to, you do a 4-hour show on Halloween, but it's my number one.
We could do a show just around Halloween films.
That'd be a big one.
Yeah.
That'd be a long show.
Break it up into parts.
So you did get my number one.
Yes.
Nice.
I thought to me it was going to be a toss up between either Halloween or The Thing. That's why I said I'm pretty sure it came down to a movie that was done by the same director.
Yeah.
Because I know how much you love both of those films. So
I am a John Carpenter fanatic. I love his output. I mean, it's like everything, even his non-horror stuff, like Big Trouble in Little China is a movie I absolutely adore. I love that movie. It's another movie I could pop in anytime, but it's not necessarily a horror film, so
yeah.
not gonna be on there. But of course, Halloween, The Thing, two of my favorite films of all time. When you have a director that's got two of your favorite films of all time, he's your number one. Let's face it. So,
well, you know what I'm surprised. I'm surprised The Fog ain't on your list.
I love The Fog. I champion that movie a lot. There's a lot of people that say it's slow and it's boring. I was like, no, man, that movie is all atmosphere. It's so good.
Hands down, on a rainy day, I pop that in.
Yeah, because there's a thing about me is I love like coastal horror films. So movies that take place on like a coast, and you get the foggy kind of sea kind of air coming through, and the cinematography. I really do. There's another movie called Dead and Buried that does it perfectly. Yeah. And I consider those two to be the best coastal horror films when it comes to the atmosphere and how the cinematography is. They're brilliant. So, The Fog is another one I absolutely adore. Assault on Precinct 13 is another one I absolutely adore. He's just got so many classic movies. That
Prince of Darkness.
Prince of Darkness, another one. Just
fucking list goes on.
Oh yeah. If I did a top 50, there'd be a lot of John Carpenter films in that top 50. Let's just say that.
How about for the 50th episode, we do it?
Maybe we should. Agree, man.
All right. So my number one.
And I know it.
You know it.
Oh, I got it right.
The Return of the Living Dead.
Yep. I got it. So we both got each other's number one. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. We know each other.
Yeah.
So, obviously it falls down to, for one, it is a film that I got introduced to right around about 5 or 6 years old, just like you did with Halloween. So it always stuck with me, and it was my classic monster movie. Tarman scared the ever living fuck out of me as a child. And even later on in life, it was still kind of cringy to watch him, but he's my monster. So I love everything about this film. Like you said, the character interaction was like the best for me out of this film. I love the Nazi embalmer. He's fun as hell.
Ernie.
Yeah, Ernie. Um, one of my favorite scenes is where they're talking to the animatronic on the slab.
Oh
That
yeah,
is
it's great.
so cool. And just everything about this film, just I love the idea of having smart zombies and, just essentially them using their brains,
Mhm.
to basically just take out dinner, order more takeout, I guess, send more cops
Yeah,
and
yeah,
paramedics.
more parent. Yeah,
So that's really cool. That's a cool concept. I love when somebody can take a movie and ultimately write it to where it's out of the box. It's out of the norm. So in this case, you got smart zombies that can interact with certain characters to get essentially more meals, you know?
yep.
That's pretty dope. That's pretty cool. I like that.
I love the fact that the zombies are just pretty much indestructible. Like you can't do anything to stop them. Like you chop them up into little pieces, but the pieces are still coming after you. It's just like you have to like you burn them and cremate them, and then boom, then that releases the toxin into the air, and then more zombies appear. It's just crazy. Like, and
Yeah.
it's again another fantastic ending. Like amazing. Like the way it ends is perfect.
Yeah.
You don't see it coming, and it's like, holy shit, did that really just happen? When you
Hmm.
first watch the movie, you've never seen the movie before, you see that, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? you know, and yeah, it's so good, man. The fact that of course, it's ingrained in pop culture. Zombies eat brains because of this movie. Um,
Hmm.
you ask any John Q. citizen on the street, what do you think about or what do zombies want to eat? And this and that. People are going to say brains, and that's why, because of this movie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
iconic.
Yep. And another point is that it just captures the essence of the 80s so well, the punk scene, like you said earlier. It's just so awesome.
It's
Everything
it's
everything
very
about
punk
this film
rock.
I love.
Very punk rock.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah. So that's my number one.
That's it, man. Top 10.
Top 10. We did it.
We did it, man.
So,
That was tough as hell to do. You want to do some honorable mentions, maybe? Throw some out
uh,
there.
yeah, honestly, like I said, it was hard for me not to put The Fog in.
Yeah.
Um, I was thinking about putting Pieces of Talent in.
Mm.
That's another movie that I love, but ultimately it's not one that I pop in all the time. So um, there was a couple other ones though that which one did I take out? Because so before we actually sat down to do the list, I had to make a quick swap because The Howling. I took The Howling out to put
Yeah.
Jaws in because it,
That's
it dawned on me. I was like, I didn't even put Jaws in this. So I took The Howling out because The Howling isn't something that I watch all the time, but again, it's a movie that I adore because of my childhood. So what
that's my
what about you?
favorite one. It killed me not to put Suspiria on my list. I'll be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah.
Um, any if I would have done my list a year ago or whenever, Suspiria would have definitely been on my list, no question about it, because I absolutely adore that film, the way it's shot, everything about it. Tenebrae is another one. Like I'm getting on a Dario kick. I love Dario, and the fact that I don't have any of his films in my top 10 kind of hurts me. But I
Yeah.
got one Fulci in there, so I did show, you know, I did show my Italian love. I got a little bit of it in there. And like I said, to not put more Fulci on there, Zombie 2. I love Zombie 2. I
Yeah.
absolutely adore Zombie 2. Day of the Dead is another one. It and when I thought about Dawn and Day, I mean, I might have swapped out, Dawn with Day in another time at another time. I mean, just I love Day of the Dead. Um, it's fantastic. It's another movie that really, because I love downer movies and movies that are, there's really no hope and no this and that, and just the feel of that one was no hope, and of course the end kind of reverts that, but the fact of the matter is, like, there's still that that tension between, people, and the greatest downfall of any zombie apocalypse is going to be the human beings that survive, because they're never going to be on the same page and they're never going to agree on everything. And it's prevalent in that movie, and I think it's well done. I think that's honestly, if I'm thinking, I know in my opinion that's George Romero's greatest or best movie. But well, speaking of George Romero, not putting Creepshow on my list kind of hurt. Yeah, Creepshow was tough. Rosemary's Baby is a movie I love, but I can't watch it all the time. But it's another movie I absolutely adore. What was I going to say? Creepshow. Poltergeist was another one. I love Poltergeist. So much fun. Yeah, but there's a couple honorable mentions in there.
I'm surprised Dr. Giggles didn't go on there either.
No, not Dr. Giggles. I mean, I don't find myself watching Dr. Giggles all the time. It's very nostalgic for me because I remember the poster in the movie store growing up, but I didn't get to watch it till later. I just remember the posters, and like I said, I don't have any 90s movies in my top. Yeah, I don't have any 90s movies in my top 10.
Wow.
Or modern. And there's some great modern movies. I could throw some modern films out there that I absolutely love, and Pieces of Talent being one that's absolutely fantastic, and the acting is brilliant. And there's a couple of others. I mean, the Hatchet movies. I mean, Hatchet 1 in particular, very prevalent for me. Even Blair Witch. I'm surprised Blair Witch didn't get somewhere. Well, I knew it was going to make my top 10, but if I did a top 20, it might be in there. So it's another movie that I find, just absolutely amazing. Well, I don't know. It's just so many movies, man. I don't know how I would structure it if I did a top 20 or even a top 50. But that's it's tough. It's tough to narrow it down to 10. It really is. But at the end of the day, I went gut what I watch all the time, and these are the 10 movies that I pop in all the time to watch.
Yeah.
So I'm comfortable with my list. I'm comfortable with it. I'm glad it solidified for me. This is a solidified one.
Yeah, that was but yeah, I agree. Yeah, I had a hard time deciding what to put in it essentially. But once I started getting it, I was like, okay, these are films that obviously I watch all the time, or at least I watch once a year, So
yeah, it blows my mind that we only got 3 repeats.
yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah. 3 repeats.
Cool. Yeah,
it's
definitely.
Cool, definitely shows something different, but
yeah. I mean, we have very similar tastes, so it's that's why it's surprising, because our taste is so similar that it's surprising we only had 3. I thought about it. I was like, oh, that's bad. That's interesting. 3 repeats.
Yeah,
but they're three of the best horror films of all time. So,
hands down. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no question. I dig it.
But yeah. Well, you ready to close it out? Land it, as Frosty says.
And the plane.
All right, folks. Well, you've been listening to the Midnight Monster Corner podcast. And as always, like, share, subscribe. Check us out on the Facebook group. It is a closed group, but head over there and join the discussion. Let's. What's your top 10 list in your collection? Do you have a collection? Do you agree with our top 10 list? And again, this is our top 10 list, so you might have a different one. But if you do have a different one, put it out there. Let's read it. Let's see what's going on with it. But as always, you can also leave a comment here on YouTube and go from there. We'll answer immediately. But yeah, with that being said, Tony, you got anything to say?
No, I mean, you nailed it, man. These lists are very personal, and like I said, if people have different lists, I'd love to see them. Please drop them down in the Facebook group, or drop them down on the comment section. Like, we'd love to get more top 10s going on and see what people's tastes are. So
Yeah, definitely. And also, if you want to see or hear more top tens from us, just let us know and we'll do them. There's obviously slashers, zombies. We could go on forever on top 10 lists. I love top 10 lists. I think they're fun as hell to do, and just looking through and figuring things out. So, but yeah, if you guys want to see more top tens, let us know. We would love to get that going.
Definitely.
And also, I wanted to mention, obviously, Daniel wasn't on with us tonight, but hopefully we'll have him back on an episode here soon. We're thinking about potentially doing a review on Maniac.
Mhm.
So I'm looking forward to doing a full-on review for that. That's going to be fun.
That's a good one to delve into because there's a lot going on in that movie.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. But so maybe that'll be coming out soon. Um, but yeah, um, thanks guys. Later.
Yeah. Later. Thank you.